George, I'd like to ask a little bit about just thematically of the series itself. It seems like on the surface, it's a story about power, the acquisition of power, political and military struggle for it. But if you dig a little deeper, it seems to me like it's a story more of loss. The loss associated with fighting desperately for something that you think you want, and then you watch so instead of watching each character in their ascension to the throne, it's more about watching each character and what they're losing along the way. Is that accurate? Is that something that I'm just projecting onto? Or is that an aspect of something?
Well, that's certainly part of it. I think there are a number of things that I'm trying to get into the books. There's a certain metafictional aspect, if I may use that pretentious word, to writing any kind of thing. You're writing in the shadow of all the people who've gone before, and in some ways you're having a dialogue with them. And as someone who's read J.R. Tolkien and Robert E. Howard and all the great fantasists before, in some ways this was almost my answer to them. A lot of it is about war. A great many of the epic fantasies from Lord of the Rings onward is about war, but to my mind, a lot of it doesn't really deal honestly with the consequences of war, what war does to us as a society, what war does to us as individuals, and the struggle for power in the same way. What are we fighting for? And I love fantasy. I've grew up reading fantasy, but I wanted to put a somewhat different spin on it. The whole trope of absolute good versus absolute evil, which was wonderful in the hands of J.R. Tolkien, I think became kind of cliche and rote in the hands of the many Tolkien imitators who followed. I've always preferred writing about gray characters, human characters who, whether they are giants or elves or dwarves or whatever they are, they're still human. The human heart in conflict with itself, as Faulkner says, that all of us have the capacity in us for great good and for great evil, for love, but also for hate. And I wanted to write that kind of complex characters in a fantasy, not just all the good people get together to fight the bad guy.